Keep your keep your audio mute to avoid distracting background noise. Try not to disturb those who are talking. We also invite your comment and question. It's better to use the chat box or to ask question during the Q&A session rather than while the host or presenter is speaking. And the last one, write down whatever information is most useful to you. All right, before we start, we continue the session with Mr. Casey Tang. Let me read some information about him. Mr. Casey, are you ready?
Yep, all ready, all
All
good.
right. Okay. Mr. Casey Tang is an experienced professional with a decade in the educational publishing industry, specializing in digital implementation and blended learning support with a passion for lifelong learning. He empower graduate young entrepreneur and professional in strategic professional, branding and online communication. Starting as a training assistant, Mr. Casey now regularly moderate workshop on digital marketing and professional branding for researcher and innovator. He holds a bachelor degrees in business management and is certified as an HRDC trainer, Human Resource Development Corporation Malaysia, and a digital marketing specialist by iTrain Asia. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Casey Tang to deliver his talk. Please welcome.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Let me just share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see my screen right now? Just to confirm. Sheikh Muhammad Badru can see my screen, right?
Okay. Can see your screen, your slide.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Okay, very good morning, everyone. So there was actually two sessions from IES Research today. Not to surprise, there are two topics that we actually proposed to UPM. The first one, this morning's topic is on open science trend, how they influence the impact of your journal. And there's another session in the afternoon run by my colleague, Mr. Farizo. That one is on AI for research. And AI topic is something that is really very popular these days. By looking at the number of registration numbers, you can tell the number of registration participants for this topic. It's about 200 plus, 230, 240. And for AI one, it's three times more. It's 600 over, close to 700 registration for that topic. So again, what we could see here is that the trend, AI is really like shifting the entire trend in scholarly communication today. Whether it's open science trend is no longer something that is very new. It's already been around for probably 5 years plus. I think the entire initiative was since the UK was actually influenced by the UK side, how the funders there are sort of felt that science must be open because all the funders public monies are basically funding all the research, and at the end of the day the research goes back to the money actually goes back to the publisher side. So and they actually put a paywall in between. So if the funders all felt that something is wrong there, so they actually initiated the entire uh open science campaign. That's where you started all the Plan S, like open access different models. That's how it basically started. But how does all this thing, over the years, I think everyone is getting more and more receptive to it, and I can see the benefit of it. So today, my session, basically, I will cover not so much on the history side. Basically, it's more on these four things I will cover. I'll run through a little bit of the background just to show some data, some analytical data that was actually done by our team. We do have an in-house analyst based in Taiwan using Web of Science Scopus to actually analyze throughout data to showcase just to give you guys more in the event that some of you might not familiar with like still not quite familiar or convinced that why should they go for open access, I think these are some of the data to run through as a background. Then later on, the second point, I will move on to how does it influence, right, the industry, the journal, or and as a researcher. And on the later part, more we talk a little bit on the opportunities. So what are the things that we could leverage on, and what are the things that uh you guys can do by your own, or even as a university, building up your own journal, your own. I believe like almost every university has their own journal, right? Like UPM have their own UPM press, UKM have UKM press. So what are the opportunities that we could see when it comes to open access, leveraging an open access trend? And lastly, it will be what are the kind of support that um you can actually get from probably people like us, like our team. We could share a little bit of what we could do, how we actually, because we are an open access advocate for years. I mean, we always like the one that always move forward. We felt that science definitely should be open because information, anything around our life today are all backed by research, right? Research are the things that shift us towards the new era, the new technology, AI, anything is all about backed up by research. So in order for us to move faster, I think we all believe that it should be freely accessible to anyone so that anyone can actually pick up those information and start progressing. I think that is some of like the passion of every researcher should have, right? That's why you guys are all spending years doing research, because you do have the thing that improving the world, saving the world, contributing to the society, and etc. So before I start, just a little bit of more background of my company here. So I'm attached to this company called IES Research, which is a regional research consulting firm that we focus on uh, promoting research services. So like I said, we are an advocate of open access. But in order to the fundamental of open access is all lies between one word, that is visibility. So in our business model, basically, we help to improve publication visibility to make your research more well known to global society, reaching out to different community using various platform, whether it's social media platform, ResearchGate, Kudos, press release, and we also help to look out for all the latest AI tools, which we do have our technology partners. So how does it incorporate into researchers' workflow today, from all the way from authoring up to publishing and outreaching? So that is basically what we do, and we are actually tied up to a company called iGroup, which is also one of the core supplier in Malaysia, supplying electronic databases to the library. So UPM is their long-term customers since like for the past 20 years. They have been supplying electronic content to the library. So myself, I think as the Encik Muhammad Badrul has mentioned, I'm more on the digital marketing side. So my background is on the digital marketing side. Uh, how to incorporate digital marketing strategies for research community so that we could reach out. So remember, because today we are all living, even if regardless we are doing open access or not, actively promoting your content, it still becomes the key, the driving factor, whether or not you will get actual readership or not. Because it does not mean that you're publishing open access that definitely guarantees you have more eyeballs or people looking at it. And this will brings me to one of our first key slide today, which we look at open access. There are a couple of myths here. Okay. I mean, I got this summarize this 6 myths here basically is from this source. So the first myth, authors can now freely use their own published content, which is definitely it's a myth. It's not true, because it all depends on whether open access, even though it's an open access article, but when you are publishing it to the publisher, most of the time, the content copyright, they will still goes back to publisher. So it does not mean that you still own back your entire content. Then some people might think that, oh, open access are not peer reviewed, but in fact, most of these open access journal, I mean, those are a little bit, they are reputable ones or even local. They do have follow a process, peer review process similar to those paid journals process. And open access is a way for libraries to save money. And this is also something that at this stage, I think this is not the right kind of mentality that we should have. We should look at open access in the good side of it is more like really to make scientific content, your research openly accessible, and not definitely not to whether it's to save money or not. Because I think by now some of you guys might already aware that I mean, same goes to point number the point number 5. There are different various model in open access. Some could be even way more expensive because now even though you don't have to pay subscription or publishing price, but you do have to pay APC charges. And depending on the journal you're selecting, APC charges at the end of the day could be even way more expensive for publishing. Then there are different terminologies, open access, public access, all these things are the same. These are all a lot of myth here. And the last one is a more interesting one is that the point that I mentioned earlier on, open access guarantees higher visibility and citation. This is definitely is a myth because if you just look at, I'll give you one example. Open access platform, like maybe use back some common man platform. You look at YouTube. YouTube is a freely accessible open platform. Anyone can create an account, upload your content on YouTube. But you can try it out. If you upload a video today and you waited for 1 whole year, you will realize that the number of people watching that video is fairly low. Why? Because without active promoting it, at the end of the day, even though people can access it free, people are not aware. I mean, it's a platform that everyone can upload content. Your content, your paper is same goes to open access. So many journals, so many platforms to upload. How do you ensure that people can find your content at the end of the day? So that goes back to this is the last myth of the day, and also would shape up why, like I mentioned earlier on, open access ties up a lot much more with your visibility. So how do you spend effort in improving your visibility at the end of the day would determine. But definitely, it as in comparison with the behind a paid wall, this is something the extra thing that you could do because in the past, if let's say you are publishing in a paid journal, you do not have the option to promote it because even you promote it widely, but people do not have access to it. I mean, do not buy, do not have a subscription to it, then they can't read your paper. But now, if you actively promote it everywhere across different channels, then you will get the eyeballs at the end of the day. So now the following few slides are some of the analytics, some of the data that we have, like I mentioned earlier on, is that we have basically sum up entire Southeast Asia country mainly. How do we embrace open access, right? So this data was actually exported out last year September, and we found out that Indonesia ranks the third in terms of number of publication. Malaysia is sort of number 1 in terms of publication output. So I think you guys did a very great job. At least we get something number 1 in terms of this whole Southeast Asia region. We have something number 1, which is we have the highest publication output based on Web of Science data index. And you notice if you look at the box on the right top here, the percentage of open access, Indonesia is ranked number 1 because they are constantly publishing, like over 60% of their publications are open access. Malaysia pretty much is a 50-50 part. But if you look at the one at the bottom, you can see that most of the Indonesia actually is a very steady steadily published in open access since 2018 started. They are pretty much at the public. A lot of open access publishing basically stagnant every single year. But whereas other Southeast Asia countries like Malaysia, for example, you look at in 2018 we do not focus a lot. Basically, it's at 40%. But we are slowly rising every single year. So what does it indicate? It indicates that people are pretty much aware and to see the importance of open access. And why are they publishing in open access? The second point here will basically will be one of the answer to it, which is open access publication tends to get more citation than non open access publication, but it's actually at a different rate here. So you look at the citations per paper, the orange bar here, it's the open access. Non-open access, it's the gray bar. So Malaysia one is not that significant in terms of the citation ratio. But if you look at other countries, Indonesia, it's 34%, Philippines 200%, Singapore 57%, Thailand 36%, Vietnam 46%. Basically, they get more citation from open access journal itself. Then if you look at the data, and there's an explanation for Malaysia part as well, because if you look at the data on the right side, why Malaysia, the ratio is only 14%. Because this graph here, you can see that I mentioned earlier on, Malaysia, we actually shot up the OA publication rate only back in the recent years. And citation usually does not come that quick, right? Usually the whole citation cycle would take about 2 years to 3 years, that kind of period. So if you look at the citation means between OA articles in the current 2 years, you can see the entire number is going down. And it's very normal because, like I said, all these publications that published in 2022, 2021, their citation basically haven't comes in yet. It probably takes 2 to 3 years. So you will basically see the citation numbers only comes up 2 or 3 years later time. So that is where it indicates that goes back to the same point that I highlighted earlier. The visibility of promoting these publications here are crucial. So actively promoting these papers right at this stage right now, this point of time, would basically gives you a better result in the near future. And so you can see another point of open access here is that it not only increases the chances of receiving citation, but what we actually noticed and found on this this report is also that it leads to much broader readership from across various countries. So you look at let's say we look at Malaysia, for example, we took these three institutions, their total number of publications, open access, and we noticed that the number of citing countries are also increases. Yeah, even more as compared to the not closed journal itself. So not only you could have a chances of getting more citation, more viewership, but these viewers are even much broader from different countries as well. So that is another point to take note to understand. Okay. So Malaysia published the highest number of OA publications over the past 5 years, okay, while Indonesia still has the highest proportion as a whole. But this whole indicator showcase that Malaysia, we definitely, all of you are contributing to this whole open science trend. Everyone here are basically aware of the benefits of it. So it's a good thing. But like I said, the emphasis of the next step is after you publish, what else should we do? Okay. So now we look at a little bit on the influence. What are the influence? Research integrity has become a pressing issue in the recent years, course, there are also data that showcase the same report that we actually churn out some of this data. We also found that the number of retraction rate has been also increasing over the years. Okay, the retraction rate, possible reasons, most of the most common ones are unreliable findings, major error, data fabrication, plagiarism. I think in the coming year, if next year we are to do another report, I think that the retraction rate might even go up even higher because of AI plagiarism. And remember just now I talked about AI topic is pretty popular these days, and one of the most common question that received is that people are asking, how do we detect AI plagiarism? How is it ethical or not to get ChatGPT to write the entire paper, or to paraphrase it? And there are so many tools out there to go around with. Even though Turnitin have the kind of like anti AI detector, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it goes to a very different direction, because like it's like becoming like a hacker trying to, an antivirus company developing an antivirus to prevent the hacker create another thing to try to hack back the company. Then you create another software to create a different wall. So it becomes a very uh that kind of direction is not the kind of direction that we wish to see, especially in the entire scholarly communication. I mean, we believe that uh AI is definitely a good tool to use it, but as a researcher, we should always answer to ourselves whether understanding the ethical risks behind using AI. But without that, whether or not we could see, definitely this whole thing would disrupt and improving at affects contributing to this whole retraction rate as well. That is something that would be upcoming. Then you can see there are probably unauthorized data, materials, copyright issue, and ethical research. So all these are the kind of factors that contributing to this whole retraction throughout. And we also identify what are the top countries. Sorry, there's one question. Let me just see. If not mistaken, we can counter for. Oh, yeah, I think Zoom, this is Zoom webinar, right? Yeah, webinar, if not mistaken, we can account for 500 to join, but give me one moment. Let me just check. Hi, Encik Muhammad Basro. Encik Muhammad Badro, you there?
Yeah, Mr. Casey.
Yep,
Because I think more participants to want to join, but we cannot admit.
let me see.
Is it have a limitation to join this?
Uh, I don't think so, because by right, our account, we could complete up to 500, but can I be more participants?
Maybe you can setting your
Just give me one moment. Let me just check it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Casey.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Give me some technical error here. Let me just do some quick check. Oh, hi. Yep. I think this one is a Zoom meeting. It's not a Zoom webinar. That's why there's 100 participant cap here.
Okay, Mr. Casey, I think you just proceed lah.
Yep. I think we can send the recording
All right,
later
thank
on.
you.
Okay, let me just come back here. Okay, so another data that we found is that China, India stands out with the highest retraction rate, 0.06% among the top 10 countries, and Malaysia within this whole another region is also around 0.06%. But of course, the volume when it comes to the top countries like China, US, the volume 0.06% is definitely way more. But these are just some data for us to benchmark a little bit to see that we could see that it happens at everywhere around the world, any countries, they are strong retraction rate. And at some point, even like open access could it actually invite more retraction rate? That is also a question because I remember I read some article as well. It also states that um retraction rate actually goes up as well because we are simply inviting more people to read your content, or then you are basically inviting more critics, comments. I mean, like people might scrutinize your challenge your findings way more as compared to with no visibility. So at times visibility, it's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, the same goes to it happens in anywhere, even like in business. If you go you open a nasi lemak shop at your own kampong or somewhere, working with only a couple of customers at your neighborhood, you might not get so much critics. But one day when you go viral, you might not know, then people will start commenting, you might get haters, you might get a lot of bad comments. So that is something we always need to uh, take note when it comes to visibility. So, but open science, towards open science, it definitely well, if we look at it at a good side and at a positive side, it definitely paves a way for more open scientific communication. Like whether it comes to preprint, open peer review, open research data, all these things basically promotes transparency, accountability, more collaboration. Throughout your entire research process, you could see like open science, the truth behind is all about really, it all goes back to treating like you answer to your own self, like just like I mentioned, how to use AI. It all goes back to integrity issue, ethical issue, but the whole major concept, looking at the big picture, will brings more good eventually. But depending on how we want to look at it, like data sharing, all these all these few items, and I still remember like 6 or 7 years ago, I actually run a similar topic, like talking about open science. But at that stage, I was receiving a lot of question, like people asking, like, I do not want to like share my data or share my thing online because I'm afraid that people might steal my idea, like my idea because I have not published, if I promote my preprint online, my people might like steal my idea and you know do something out about it. So all these things, it does happen, but like I said, 6, 7 years ago, we might not actually have a kind of a solution. So that's why open science is something that it takes time to educate, and also we need support from infrastructure, technology. Like today, we do have technology like blockchain. Blockchain is one of the technology like in this whole one of the new technology in this entire century that promotes, like, ever heard of cryptocurrency, how Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these decentralize the entire system. So blockchain technology, eventually what I could see, it will also comes into research. In fact, I do know that there are a couple of companies actually working with blockchain for science, just to simply protect your data. They have an entire footprint of blocks to store your research data and footprint throughout, so that you wouldn't users wouldn't be actually afraid of actually sharing any data online, because everything you put online will be tied up with a digital footprint, will actually tie up with the block, and all these block, if you are aware of blockchain, all these things are basically almost close to not be able to manipulate, and you can't actually even hack any account, because every block it's basically requires is openly protected by everyone. So so with technology, we believe that we are one step closer towards reaching open science stage. So if you go a little bit deeper, so you can see data sharing scientific data openly. It will be, if you look at the good side, it's always like easier to be verified by others, so that you can reduce your data manipulation, data fabrication. Because when we like I said earlier, we are inviting people to give comments. So if you stand at a point that comments, looking at it, you can help to improve the whole uh information, strengthen the whole message much better, instead of afraiding people will steal your content. So at the end of the day, you will get much more quality data supplying in the whole scholarly network. Then reproducibility, how the people can actually reuse your data to actually to put into their studies, so that they can have much more strengthened hypothesis. You look at the whole, if let's say you have produces one method, but it has been used by multiple studies coming up with different hypotheses, at the end of the day, this is whole improving the whole credibility and convincing power of that particular research as well. So there are different like pre-registration of studies, documentation, the research plan before conducting the studies. Again, all this could be backed up by technology at the end of the day. So with technology, a lot of things will be much more easier and safer and comfortable for people to use it at the end of the day. So use it basically is open peer review. You look at this, like Science Open, they actually launched last year itself. They launched this entire open peer review competition. So opening anyone to come in to be part of their peer review process, giving comments, feedback publicly available, so that uh you will basically be aware that who are your reviewers at the end of the day. Basically, they have to identify very clearly. So whoever that gives a comment, feedback, you would basically knows that, oh, it is safe. Even like during election, like people are all talking about, they want transparency. They want, and everyone should actually have the chance to speak up, give your feedback. So in and you can actually reduce the bias and conflict of interest, because if anything was being managed within their own ecosystem, then like you would basically be less convincing, because you will be felt that, oh, that guy might be uh especially in this world, there are always the dark side of the world. People could spend money. I do know people could spend money to actually get their paper published at some certain journal as well. Like, just that because they are rich, they have the background, they have the connection, then they can easily like buy through the entire process to get. So all these are like biasness, unfairness. So open science basically would promote this whole, making everything like much more transparency at the end of the day. So open access publication, making research finding available publics without paywall, inviting wider scrutiny to the work, helping to detect, prevent misconduct. But goes back to another topic here. Just now I showcased some of the data that we analyzed, does OWare brings more attention. So this is something that from done by Springer. I shared some data from other people analysis. So Springer also did the report previously. They analyzed, they have 4 times more download for open access journal, more 1.6x more citation, 2.5x more metric, and they have their whole samples here. I mean, if you're interested, you can look at the article, or simply just to showcase that even publishers are all definitely they are buying in, even though they are the ones that because they have no choice. They know that the entire trend is moving that direction, even though it might affect their entire business profit at the end of the day in the long run, but they have no choice but they have to follow this whole trend itself. So even on social media, if we look at social media, like somewhere on Twitter, or now it's rebranded as X. So they also indicates that uh open access articles tends to have more mentions, more share, more retweets on social media channels throughout the year. Even on not only on social media, even on news media platform. So like if you are planning to look out for, getting your research out for to the journalists, to the media, having an open access journal would also be actually be an added value because you will get more chances of them reporting your content. But how to get more attention of the paper at the end of the day, it all goes back to what is the keyword just now I mentioned? Visibility. You need visibility, but how to ensure you have visibility? That is you need to look at um, understanding that promotion, you have actually different audience group. If you look at the most bottom part here, this one is your peers within your same professional field. So usually these are the stage where you are publishing your journal at probably high impact factor journal, looking at Elsevier, Nature, uh, having your abstract there so that you can attract those researchers that could to look at your paper. But if you look at one step up above the reviewed peers in related field, multidisciplinary collaboration. That is something you requires different type ways of messaging your content. So like you probably need a plain language summary. You heard of it before. Plain language summary. Then you might need to leverage on different platform, academic network services like ResearchGate, Kudos, different communities to reach out to the peers because these people are not in the same discipline, so they might not even understand your jargon or your research direction very clearly. So you need to re-message and repurpose your research content. Then even wider audience, we talk about interdisciplinary collaboration. That is even wider. You are getting an engineer to speak with a social science or politician, like different types of background. Then you really need a different story to tell. Then that is you could use social media, news media, and the highest level we want to get is the funders, industrial, policymakers, news media channels. So that is when press release, getting a press release platform, uh, again on different various channel would be helping you to get attention. Also, the point here is that different channels to get attention to your paper, you need not only need to have a understanding that there are different channels reaching different audience, writing different message, different content, caters to attracts this different point of contact at the end of the day. And you look at this trend itself, publishers themselves are pretty much aware. Like I said, this whole open access trend is not new. It's been around at least 5 years. People are talking about it. I think if you guys remember, I've been even teaching about plain language summary, graphical abstract, video abstract for the past 5, 6 years, talking about this whole thing. And you can see publishers are all aware. Basically, you can see they have not made it mandatory for researchers to submit all these materials. Right now, when you submit your paper, you only need to submit your manuscript. Right? So plain language summary, graphical abstract, video abstract, all these are optional materials to be supporting. But have you ever thought of like why did they actually came out with all this additional material? I mean, they are not trying to make your life even harder as a researcher, but it's all to support the promotion at the end of the day. Because like even you can publish at their journal, they also want more readership. They want more people visit their journal, read your paper. They want to help you, the authors, to do promotion as well. But without all this content, all this supplementary content, it's very hard for them to reach out to wider audiences. Simply like they can't like upload your full text, your abstract onto LinkedIn, for example. If you want to use LinkedIn to promote your content, upload your abstract there. No one will read it. It's too technical. So you need video. You need different engagement media to actually get people eyeballs and attraction at the end of the day. Oops, where's my okay. So what are the opportunities at the end at the end of after knowing all this background, what is happening, what is it really opportunity for us in this whole community? We all know open science leads to more collaboration. You can get more people because while promoting your content, you can potentially not only get looking at citation, you can get more readership from different countries, so you can have um, multiple collaboration from authors in different countries as well, and ultimately forming new sciences. We are all sciences today are all multidisciplinary. AI, the most hot topic today, it is a very much multidisciplinary subject. People talk about AI is just an technology, is an IT subject. No, actually it involves way bigger than that. They have computer science, they have data analytics, they have natural language processing, they have machine learning. So there are so many aspects when it comes to AI, just that everyone generalize it as the term AI. But it's actually way more than that. And AI, this AI, this term itself can be the application of it can be applied in almost any industry today. You know, not only in computer. People in your robot, your vacuum robot have AI. Your kitchen utensil, kitchen tools, all those have AI. People robot cooking food, you have AI. Almost like any industry, there AI. Your phone, latest phone, you have AI. So how the application part is definitely a very huge and big topic that why people are so getting into it of this whole topic. But the point is, how does it really benefit researchers or university right now? Is that this is my personal what I see. I was in Indonesia last month. Let me share one story. I was in Indonesia last month, and I noticed that they actually have this whole their ministry of research, technology, and higher education. It came out with in collaboration with the SINTA, sort of like they're actually having a mandatory uh for every university, like pushing their researcher to publish in their local journal. You get it? Like local, yeah, what is this whole idea that triggers this whole, it makes me think of something here. It's like suddenly Malaysia government asks everyone, don't look and publish into Web of Science, don't look and publish in Elsevier Nature, publish in UPM Press, publish in Press, publish in our own local journal. That will actually keep like makes me things back. Why at the first place people okay, look if we rewind a little bit, why are we always want to look publish in high impact factor journal? Because in the past we thought that okay, high impact factor journal, everyone has the eyeballs there, right? They have people looking at their content every day. Everyone access subscribe to what was Elsevier and those content. So if I have my paper published there, I will actually get a natural eyeballs, right? Naturally eyeballs will be looking at my content. But that's not the case, right? We all knows because we can see there are various news coming out and says that even published in Nature, they also have pretty much a lot of zero citation articles at the end within the end of the day. So with open science, if let's say researcher or institution are willing to do their own promotion, they technically do not need to publish in high impact factor journal. Because when you are actively promoting your work, let's say even though you're publishing in UPM Press, the whole world might not know UPM Press. But that's okay because when you are promoting your content online, people only look at your content. People look at your writing, your style, and don't even bother much about the author behind. It's just like uh, if you look at, I'll give you one example. Recently, anyone have heard of Uncle Roger Fried Rice, right? Just newly opened in Pavilion, right? So that guy is a celebrity. I mean, it takes him years to develop his branding, Uncle Roger, so he can actually afford to open up in Pavilion. This whole, Pavilion, very expensive rental just to sell fried rice itself. But again, opening in Pavilion is like publishing in high impact factor journal. You can get the crowd. You have crowd there. You have the all the branding support. But if let's say you have a very good recipe today, you know how to make fried rice. You just open up in a very small local store, and you do your own marketing. You get people to shoot your store. Shoot it nicely, promote it online. It goes viral. Do you think people will be aware of your store at the end of the day? I mean, I believe you have witnessed a lot of all these hidden gems, people promoting, oh, the best nasi lemak at certain corner of the roadside. People might not even know who is the chef, but I just know that nasi lemak is damn good, right? So the same phenomenon happening right now, which I could see, is that as long as you know how to promote the branding. At the end of the day, you are shaping out the branding of your university. So that is what the initiative, what Indonesia they are looking at right now. They want to promote their own journal. This initiative was actually not the first time I see in Indonesia. The first time I noticed it actually in China, because we do have a couple of projects with a local publisher in China, which they are always actively promoting their own journal. And because they have the paid wall, they can't access like Facebook, X, LinkedIn, all this content. That is why they actually needs to outsource to different companies to help them to do the promotion outside China. But at the end of the day, the traffic will goes back to their branding, their journal eventually. So that is one phenomenal and a kind of opportunity that like I could see that as long as you are it create open science create this whole levels the game that you no longer need to only solely relying on publishing in high impact factor journal, but you could also get the results and promoting your own institution branding at the end of the day. So that basically leads to the greater impact of your journal and your publication, so you can improve the discoverability of your own journal at the end of the day. Even though people might not be aware of UPM Press now, but it takes time to develop. As long as you're constantly promoting producing new content, and you have all the metadata indexed nicely online, like on a DOAJ, work with aggregators like Crossref, all the DOI, everything is proper, and you have actively promoting it, and of course support the author promotion. Here is like, if let's say your UPM Press have the kind of option to promote content for the authors, that is how you get people to publish within your journal itself. Because another one of the current challenges in Indonesia is that although they have this mindset of getting people to publish, but they have a hard time with getting people to publish at their own journal, because people still do not aware, like, why should I publish in UPM Press, for example? If to publish in are there so many other places, why should I publish in UPM Press? So that is where they need to rethink of what kind of how do they help the authors to promote their own work, having their own toolkits to support, so that let's say you publish in UPM Press, we can actually ensures that you can get these are the things that we will do for you. We'll help you do this kind of campaign and running this whole strategies. And of course, promoting every paper today is almost impossible. So that is why refining, you look at the point number 3, refining outreaching strategy, it's pretty much very important. How do we form clusters? Multiple papers to form more clusters, like using trending, the kind of themes, like special issues. Let's say AI, for example. AI is a big team. Under AI, there could be multiple layers. So we could do clusters like 10 papers, 10 research papers. We can form one cluster article then we can basically promote this article itself. But promote this article indirectly, you are promoting 10 papers within. So there are different types of like strategies you could help to target of the day. That will have benefit to the journal. And point number four, we are trying to move beyond looking beyond impact factor. Because I know a lot of people when they're searching place to publish, a lot of things, a lot of times they are pretty much bound to impact factor only, one single thing. But there are actually multiple metrics that can actually use to assess journal impact today. And one of it is like we're using like AI, smart citation, because impact factor or whatever indicator that looks at citation, they're also basically looking at the number itself. Let's say today you are a researcher, you receive 100 citation for your paper. Would you think that it's a wow, this paper is great, 100 citation? But I mean, most generally, of course, it's a good thing. I mean, it is still 100 citation. But with technology today, there's a new analysis that can comes up to analyze the entire uh, citation analysis. What we call it is that we analyze whether out of this 100 citation, how many people are actually citing in a positive way, that they are positive way in the sense that they're actually supporting what you are saying, and how many percentage are actually disagreeing, contrasting with your idea. If you look at 100 citations, 80% of the people are actually contrasting your idea. They disagree with you, but they cite you. They cite you and they provide a thing that saying that they disagree. So at the end of the day, do you look at it as that's it? It's a good or bad thing? I mean, of course, it's debatable. At the end of the day, we are not looking at it in that sense, whether it's good or bad. It's more like giving an indicator. So like, will you be curious, like if 80% of people cite your paper are contrasting your idea? So that is where you will actually look into their papers and see why are they actually contrasting with my idea, and actually you can learn from there at the end of the day. So there are also some of the metrics like alt metric. I think you have heard of it before. Alt metric is a metric to assess your visibility online, how frequent your content is being shared online, it's an indicator to showcase how visible is your content. Because rewind back at the very beginning, I mentioned before, visibility. Why is it so important? Is because citation simply takes time, and citation is more like looking at takes time, and you are more or less happening. You need to wait for 2 years, 3 years to actually get to see the actual citation. So what can actually be done within these 2 to 3 years, and what kind of metrics you can use to access? These are alt metric came out this whole idea, because anything you do online, you promote online, you can get immediate metrics itself. So from there, you can get some sense whether if let's say no people even uh your visibility is so low. Let's say you use back my earlier metaphor. I create a YouTube channel, upload one video on YouTube. After 2 months, 5 view. Do you think the chances of people know my video or my paper is high after 6 months if I'm not doing I don't do any active promoting it? So same goes to citation thing. So after knowing all these opportunities, the next question here I think we could see is that what would be the support that you could get? Of course, whatever I'm sharing earlier on is pretty much not ask uh not how to say, not convincing you guys to do everything by yourself, because I definitely know, because there are some uh questions often pops up like, I'm a researcher, are you asking me to do marketing, and are you asking me to do some of my own content? No. Even today, definitely there are no players that can do everything by themselves. It's just the ecosystem is just too big. Later on, I will share with you what do I mean by that. Okay, I saw someone raise their hand. Mr. Muhammad Yusuf, you have a question?
Yes, good day, Mr. Casey.
Yep.
Yes. I don't know if we can go back to the last slide, please.
Sure,
I have a question.
sure.
Yeah, because I think the number 4,
Mm,
I'm trying to look at this item here beyond the impact factor. I
right.
think for quite some time now, I've had issues trying to analyze the difference between all of this, like the SNP and just SNP actually. And I was made to understand that SNP is also one of those uh, metric measurement
Yep.
for um, for what's it called, Scopus, a
Right.
database.
Right.
Yeah. So looking at all of this, we have the site score, we have the SNP, we have the I think the SGR,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I think one of them I've forgotten. I think about 4 of those metrics that are actually used to measure um citations like that. So, and I am a bit confused on how to actually differentiate each and every one of those metrics.
Yep. Actually, I mean, there are a lot of different metrics to access journal. I am not an expert but for all of this, but I can give you an overview here is that, what this whole point that I'm leaving behind is that do not just focus on impact factor as one single metric to channel to access a journal. You can look into multiple alternative metrics, different point of view to actually let you aware when you're selecting where to publish. This basically goes back to like people, because to answer the question, like some people like, oh, I do not want to, why should I publish in UPM Press? Their impact factor is so low. They are so, they do not have this kind of, they don't have this impact factor. They do not, this citation is low. So then they basically jump into the conclusion that this is not a good journal to publish it. But as a UPM Press, let's say I'm wearing a hat of UPM Press director now, the chief now, I need to overcome this whole how should I convince people to publish in UPM Press? That is where they should try to repurpose themselves, looking into different metrics data and find which metrics they could actually excel to their advantage. For example, let's say if they look at alt metric, okay, they can publish that because they actively promote UPM Press online, their journal, their articles for their authors online. So their metric score, they already have the kind of a good metric score. That is where they can showcase metric to their audience, their potential authors. Publishing in UPM Press, you can actually get very good visibility, and this is the kind of my score for UPM Press. Or let's say you are looking at smart citation or agent factor, SNP, whichever metrics that they felt that they could excels in, then they could actually park it under this whole thing, just to switch the mindset from the author, not just looking at impact factor, then they decided not to publish under at local journal. That is basically what I'm pointing out
Okay.
at this point here. Yeah,
Oh, no, thank you so much.
no problem. For more details, I think I do have this whole what you call that, the source here. I think they did elaborate in a little bit more detail on this whole SNP agent factor, and I believe they also highlighted multiple different type of metrics. So they could provide you more definition on that. Okay. Thanks for asking. So come back to the support. Okay, so as I said earlier, we are not basically getting researchers to do a lot of things by themselves, but we are shaping out the whole idea of what do we mean by promotion and what do we mean by improving visibility. So this is the whole entire diagram that we came up with this whole framework applicable for any journal or any university's publication can actually uh, provide this whole entire outreach to their authors. So at the end of the day, they can actually reach out to global community and also get the entire research branding within the university. So how does it start? Like I said earlier on, promoting individual paper is pretty much almost like impossible because like one university you might publish 100, 200, even 1,000 papers up to like every year depending on the size. So promoting every paper definitely does not really make it economical, and also uh lack of impact when it comes to promoting, because one remember what I mentioned earlier on is that we are all talking about multidisciplinary subject, multidisciplinary context and application today. So if you are promoting one individual paper, the convincing power, the story is not that significant. Just like AI, one topic on computer science talking about AI, how interesting can that be? But we are combining like computer science, natural language processing, uh, NLP, large language model, generative AI, all combine and create the entire ChatGPT topic. Now it becomes something that, okay, everyone wants to know. So that is basically what we talk about curation stage. So we curate multiple papers into an impact story, and we can host it at anywhere. You can be on. I mean, we have our own platform. You can host it at your institution repository. If you want to have your own researcher website, you can host this content anywhere that you wish. But just like then after that, we actually help to outreach it. We basically create like multiple channels of outreaching, different social media channels, ResearchGate, Kudos, and press release platform that from AAAS, Eureka Alert, Newswise. All these are channel. So common question people like to ask, like which channel to use at the first stage. I was like, why should you choose? You should use all. Use all channels, but pilot it at the pilot stage. So let's say what this has been, I don't talk about so big. If you look at these few social media channels itself, people like say that, oh, we should use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is much more professional. Oh no, we should use X. X is more, people are more like to share and communication within the kind of conversation within X itself. No, Facebook is more community group. Oh yeah, so there always debate here and there, but I always tell them is that you shouldn't be uh making assumption at this stage. You should just run the campaign on every platform, like do a pilot, 3 months on doing Facebook, 3 months on LinkedIn, 3 months of X, 3 months on WeChat. And after that, you have all the data. That is where you analyze it. So you pulling the traffic, come here, come here, come here. At the end, you would do, because once anything you publish online, you will have data. So you measure the whole thing using Google Analytics. Google Analytics recently also like upgraded to their platform GA4. So they have this whole report, very sophisticated, like they have like help you to break down the traffic source, how many percentage come from Facebook, how many percent come from X. So with data, then only you make the decision, because sometimes different subject area, they have different works better in different platform as well. So we don't make assumption like, oh, this platform is the best just because this is successful for this particular cluster or this particular story. We always use data to support decision at the end of the day. And bear in mind, when we talk about outreaching today, it's all about really truly, because like I said, my background is on digital marketing. So whenever I pitch or sell or share about, oh, using Facebook, people have the kind of misconception that we are just simply creating the account. Oh yeah, I have a Facebook account. I post every single day. I was like telling them it's the same thing. Like if you do not touch on the advertisement parts of all these platform, then you're actually not using digital marketing, because the whole beauty of digital marketing is because you are leveraging the big data that aggregated by Google, by Facebook, by X, by whichever, by ResearchGate. All these players, their most valuable asset is their data. Like today, you are doing a research in AI, okay? Who is your potential audience to read your paper? You wouldn't know. You can make some guesstimate. Yeah, this guy must be reading research, but Where do you find them? You do not know. Simply, like I said earlier on, you create a YouTube channel or Facebook page, you're just posting there. No one will be aware of it. So you need to tap on their big data so that they would definitely know that okay, you just key in the all your keywords, all your target audience, and you need to do some like you need to and like remember I mentioned whatever we do based on analysis. So we even need to analyze the first stage, which are the top countries that heavily provides publication output on AI topic. So we can't target the whole world, right? So we need a short list, like maybe 3 to 5 countries. And based on the citation data, based on the publication output, okay, we might shortlist China, India, Brazil, Spain, or Turkey, these 5 countries. Then we will basically shoot out the advertisements on this particular country itself. Then we analyze. So that is basically the whole research outreach profile. So like I said, what we do here, we need to analyze your specialty of your research. How do we create clusters at the first place itself? So we have criteria to select the papers like multidisciplinary, it has to be sustainable, main authors. So let's say if we are working with UPM Press today, there is the kind of like selection criteria we will work with them and see whether how should we form different clusters for impact stories itself. And most important thing, like I said here, is open access. The content has to be open access because whatever outreaching we promote at the end of the day, if people can't access it, waste, right? So this is another example like how we do clustering. Clustering. So blockchain is a big topic as well. So blockchain, this one sample of a customer in Mahido in India. So like we look at 16 publications from their universities coming from different departments, but they are all contributing to the same topic, blockchain. So that is one cluster. So at the end of the day, what we do is we create or read all these papers, and we basically will help to write them, turn them into this whole cluster page. So remember, like I mentioned, researchers do not need to do all these things by themselves because today we can actually help to use, especially we are leveraging on technology, we can actually help to create all these cluster story. Oh, sorry, I didn't share my sound. Let me reshare in my screen. Share sound. Okay. So on the left, you can see is all the papers. On the right are all is the curated materials. So I have one video just to showcase a sample. And one of the good things from us here is that we could have limited effort working with the author. We can actually create a video for you. I mean, this is something that because like often I heard from feedback from customers that they don't like to work with other people is because they tend to have a lot of back and forth. Like, oh, this guy don't understand my paper. I need to have a meeting here and there. But we created this whole video even without speaking with the author. They just submit these 5 papers to us, 6 papers to us. We read, we churn out the video in like 7 days. So I just showcase the video as a sample.
Researchers from the Macau University of Science and Technology, MUST, have been addressing the impacts of climate change in Hong Kong and Macau for the past 2 decades, focusing on issues such as extreme rainfall, dangerous flooding, and rising temperatures that threaten water security and environmental management. Particularly vulnerable are the coastal regions of the Pearl River Delta and the Guangdong Hong Kong Macau Greater Bay Area. To address these challenges, MUST researchers at the National Observation and Research Station of Coastal Ecological Environments, Macau, NORCEN, have initiated long-term research incorporating AI-based hydroenvironmental modeling to deliver real-time, high-precision solutions. In the bustling harbors of Hong Kong, scientists have made advancements in marine conservation. Using the imaging flow cytobot, IFCB, combined with AI, they have achieved a 94.2% accuracy.
I won't play this video is 5 minutes long, so I wouldn't play it all. But just to showcase how we actually able to turn publication into impact story. I mean, if you remember back the earlier slide I mentioned, when you want to promote content today, you really need a impact story so that it can links up to multiple discipline, even potentially reach out to funders and policymakers. So this is one classic case example. You just now you watch a few, you can see that this research is basically to studying the water quality. It's one initiative in Hong Kong, Macau University in Hong Kong. So they want to study the water quality. So multiple researchers are involved. You see, there are some researchers published paper in understanding the what do you call it, the parasites within the under the water. Then there are another paper focusing on data crunching. They to evaluate some of those using AI to pro down, because without AI, previously there will be a lot of manual job needed to do the calculation, but with AI they can very quickly put something under the water to detect, and they can actually analyze a whole bunch of data to do auto analyzing it. So all these things we actually cluster them into this whole topic, and we create this whole story. And at the end of the day, what we found out is that even that I was told that the government, someone actually in Hong Kong picked up this whole idea, this whole research, and created an app. Created an app. What this app does is that uh, they anyone who downloaded the app, so they can actually by a click of button, they can actually knows that, okay, is it now the water quality, check the water quality now, is it safe for me to jump down to go for swimming or something, like they can actually check the kind of water quality with their smartphone itself. So that is what we basically call impact, and how we actually cluster to form this whole story. And the second part of it, what I want to share is that video, you can see it's not really a great video, because that video consists of multiple segments. For us, how we define a great video is that a video should be as authentic as possible. Okay, authentic. What do you mean by authentic here? Because when you're promoting your research discovery is a very novel, subject. Every research have a novelty there. So videos today, there are multiple segments. If you look at this whole gray diagram here, it's like you have a story. Okay, you need to have a story. Then you have footages. Then you have effects, music, voice, platform, tools, all the different layers. And most important part is are the footages. Where do we get footages? I mean, just now that video, you look at it, like I said, we didn't interact with the author at all. But what we could do, we understand the research, we create the story, then we go and get some paid repository website like Shutterstock to get some similar relevant footages and edit it into a video. But that is not good enough. That's not what we want, because eventually, like especially AI, AI came out. There are so many AI tools that can actually churn out video in just a couple of minutes. But those videos have the same problem today, because if every video looks like, using all these footages, it's not real, it's not authentic, then at the end people might not, it's not interesting. What people want to see at the end for video is like the most real part of you. That is where authenticity becomes the key highlight when it comes to getting video. So as the author, we often will goes back to the author and get some so after we prepare the first draft, that's just not what you see, it's just the first draft. We will send it over to the author, and we will request additional materials from them. Let's say they can give us some shoot of their own lab, their actual research lab, their university buildings, or their researcher doing some lab work, or even some interview shots. We can guide them. Then that's how we actually improve the whole entire video quality at the end of the day. So we actually provide, I mean, these are just some of the, a little bit of commercial here. This is just some of the videos. Although we are not mainly a video maker company, but we produce video a lot, because back to outreaching, back to improving visibility today, video is still one of the most highest engagement tool to get attention for any of your research paper today. I mean, you look at TikTok, you look at YouTube, I believe you already knows that people like to watch video more than read any articles or content today. So to make your own research much more like really widen your whole reach and improve your visibility, you can actually get uh to think about creating a video. But today, but what I'm letting you know, definitely you can create your own video by yourself using AI tools. But the point here is that you need to emphasize on your authenticity, because people wants to see who is behind the research more. Like they not only wants to see, just like back to my story just now, like you can create a nasi lemak store at your neighborhood and you get someone to shoot. But if you're just shooting the nasi lemak itself, yeah, you could get a bit of attention, but I mean like almost all nasi lemak looks the same, right? So what could attract audience to watch the video and come to visit you is the background of the author. Sometimes you will see that they will show some emotional factor, maybe like oh, this kakak has been working just to support their family, that their husband has divorced, I only have two child, I'm working very hard. Touch on some emotional factor, then people will actually want to support them. And the research part, of course, I'm not asking you to get this kind of direction, but you could go something like showcase your passion, your eureka moment, like what triggers you, like like I was like thinking about this research for 5 months, couldn't sleep, and one night suddenly what triggers the breakthrough of this whole idea, I finally figure it out. That kind of like aspect would get people's like, oh, this guy is very like he have the passion, he can feel the passion at the end of the day. So that is something I mean we could tag along, and we actually created uh uh there's another sample I will showcase shortly. Basically, that the research team actually uh cooperated and create their own interviews, and they send it back over to us, and we actually edit it back to their video eventually. So you see, these are like different story writing styles. You can look into different content. How do you enhance? Because certain things are more technical, then I wouldn't touch on that. Those are more like you need some adding special effect, like CGI technology, all those editing. Those are something that is more advanced, but that one is fine. But you need to know the idea. The idea is just making your video as authentic as possible. So the next one here is one sample of the video.
In the quest to explore space, understanding microbial life is essential. Today, we'll delve into the fascinating field of astromycology, the study of fungi in space.
Astromycology is a subfield of astrobiology, and it focuses on the study of fungi beyond our planet. This means that we study terrestrial fungi, but in conditions similar to outer space environments.
Play a significant space.
So you can see these are some samples of the shots that they sent back over to us, the actual shots of the research. And these are graphs we actually captured from the paper, and this is a true author themselves. And these are real footages from them provided. And yeah, again, the main author share back their passion, how they get through it, and in the lab working. So right now, then you will feel that the whole video will look much more authentic at the end of the day. But of course, some of the shots we are not completely removing stock footages, because some shots definitely you need stock footage. It's just like you don't have the shots in the space, outer space, then you will have to use all these like shots that was available somewhere. But of course, must have to be copyright free, or you have to pay the license to it. And another area that we talk about improving visibility is to come up with magazine. So this is also another thing that we see. There are a lot of customers requesting. There are people doing it, especially this one is in China and Taiwan university. They actually have all those stories that they have curated, they can actually form into a magazine. So they can have a magazine form so that they can showcase what is their latest discovery of their university in 2024. Then again, showcasing their content research group in the way at the end of the day they can get publicity not only for the research but also the university's branding location, I mean their infrastructure, labs, and etc. And press release is another platform. So like I said, we are using multiple channel platforms, shooting out your research as many places as possible. Social media is just one small part of it to get utilizing their advertisement function. I mean, if I use some terms here, digital marketing terms here, I mean, you ever heard of push and pull strategy, right? So if you publish your paper in high impact factor journal, or you publish your paper at um, press release platform, all these are basically the pull strategy. So you are just placing a content somewhere and leveraging on their own traffic so that that platform will pull traffic in. Whereas social media just now, like we're using the digital ads, those are push the content. So those are pretty much very powerful because you do not even need to know who are your audience. All this algorithm will help you to showcase that content, just like the nasi lemak. Oh, if you are they will, the foodies will even know they always constantly look at social media for where is the best nasi lemak, where is the newest shop open. All this content will basically help them to get new audience, new customer eventually. But press release is basically another new place that recent years basically get popular, especially in uh the Western world, North Asia. I heard that one of the customer in Japan, one Tsukuba, I forgotten what's the university. Is it Tsukuba or I don't know which one? They told me that they actually that university publishes 1,000 press release every single year for each paper. So what is the purpose of it? Is that again, it's a different channel, it's a different platform targeting different audience. Eventually, if you wish your research to get noticed by journalists, media, you know, you need to have because you need to have the awareness within this platform itself. Because where journalists will get information, they comes to all these platforms like Eureka Alert by AAAS to gather what are the latest newsworthiness research so that they can also publish under their own news articles. Of course, the most ideal situation is that CNN, will publish your paper, recognize your paper at their newspaper. That would be ideal. In order to get notice from CNN, CNN will need to get notice from different the journalists itself. So that one layer. This is the one of the entry that you can low cost barrier entry, but you need to repurpose and your whole message to actually get published under this platform. So we actually help to manage this whole platform as well. So you could see like these are Tsinghua University, different university publish their research on press release. And also again different writing style. Remember I mentioned. And this one is hosting Kudos. I think if you guys heard of if you guys heard of Kudos before, this is also one platform I think 8 years ago. We did also try to promote this in the whole Southeast Asia and Asia region, but it was not that popular at that stage because Kudos focus a lot of plain language summary. But the point at that stage, one of the challenges is that they require researchers to do their own plain language summary, which is actually becomes the major problem because you are asking researchers to write their content in plain language. At that era, it was very tough for them. But of course, in the era today, it's very easy because you have ChatGPT, you have AI. Writing no longer becomes a barrier today. So that is why Kudos platform is quite relevant right now as compared to 8 years ago. Now it becomes like just a different hosting platform for you to reach out to different organic audience. Again, this one is a pull strategy because the pull strategy, good thing here is that this whole platform included SEO. They do SEO for your content as well. So as you all know, you can do your own SEO, create your own website, but all comes with a different costing part. Now, if there's a platform just like us itself, IES Research, we don't do everything by ourselves. Whatever thing you see I showcased earlier on, it's all the kind of infrastructure ecosystem I'm sharing so that you guys are aware you don't have to do everything by yourself. Even we don't do. We just like, oh, you are good at doing SEO. Your website is so nice. You have such a nice platform design, everything is so nice. Okay, I'll work with you. When I have a project, I actually uh get those content hosted at your site. So you cover the SEO part for me. And I will just look at the analytics and aggregate the analytics from every different platform. Then I do the whole analysis at the end of the day. So we do not need to some even ask me like, oh, I can even subscribe to Kudos directly. Why do I get from you then? Then my immediate question is that my immediate reply is that yeah, you can do that. My whole metaphor for this is that there are so many players in the market. You definitely can go each by each. It's like you are renovating your house. Yeah, but the good metaphor is renovating a house. If you guys renovate house before, you should know that there's different. You need to face different vendors, right? Someone the plumbing, putting the flooring, the tiling, electrician. All this requires different expertise, different vendors. You can always go direct each one to do everything to save a little bit cost, or you can come to one single unified contractor, let them know your expectation, your whole design, what your budget, everything. Then they actually source out everything for you to come up with the whole thing. At the end of the day, you just need the whole package all together to oversee the whole entire workflow. So that is the kind of business model that we are in today, so that we are not really afraid of like competition. We basically want to collaborate so we can do everything like together as a team. So you can see Kudos, they have different, they have all the design for you. All you need is just supply them the materials, and they will help you to upload it, manage it, and get all the eyeballs, because they are very strong in the UK and the Western part of the world. So if you want to get your content well known, you basically can just submit that, and they will show you all the data uh, analysis on a monthly basis. So this is the whole overview. Like I said, it's pretty, the whole ecosystem requires even ResearchGate. We also work with ResearchGate. If let's say you want to tap on ResearchGate on their community. ResearchGate also have their ads function, by the way. They have their own digital ads, similar like how social media runs, because they actually smart enough to realize that, oh yeah, I have collected all the largest researcher community, like every researcher's details I have in my profile. Like I know very specifically which university you are tied up to, which expertise you are, which what kind of research you are doing. I have that information to a very detailed level. So they turn it into a business model to actually resell it back to researcher at a very premium price. What do I mean by premium here? Premium here, I'm looking at something like promoting 3 stories for 3 months at ResearchGate can cost you around 15,000 euro. That is the kind of amount that we are talking at. So again, when we look into this kind of model, not to say I would eliminate ResearchGate immediately. Let's say if you're a journal wish to get promoted, we would suggest them, yep, you could do that. But again, remember, anything we do goes back to analytics itself. Goes back to analytics, goes back to support, right? So we run through that. So you impossible by looking at that number itself. It's not I said 15,000 for 3 papers, 3 stories. Impossible to promote every stories, right? It will break your entire bank, go bankrupt. So you only have to be very selective. So to select the best one. So how to select the best one? Again, based on analytics. So let's say we run 3 years, like kind of like milestone with the with the project itself. We select like 100 papers. These 100 papers, maybe we can form 30 clusters. Then we promote these clusters on different channel, different social media, all the lower cost entry first. Then after 1 year, the top 5 clusters or 3 clusters that of the best engagement, best visibility, best download rate, best readership, then we can move these clusters into ResearchGate on the 2nd year itself. So that is how we do, like I said, use analytics to form decision. And these are just some of the active outreaching, some more data to showcase from our case study. Active outreaching definitely improves your visibility at a very higher rate. If you look at the orange bar, are those that content that without active promotion. blue bar is with active promotion. Then this one is some of the case study also we showcase from what is studying the correlation between outreaching effect and citation. Again, goes back to remember the first slide, the data that I showcased. We all notice that citation doesn't come. If you want to promote your content, you want citation 2 years later, you need to start promoting it today. Then you could see the effect will comes in the later year. So like you see this example, we started one project in Universitas Padjadjaran in Indonesia, started way back in 2021. Then we analyzed it, we did a comparison. They actually published 52 papers for the outreaching, and there are 2,000 over articles without doing anything. So we do a benchmark comparison. So you can see the entire slope actually after the first year itself, before outreaching from 5.21, it actually shot up to 8.98. Then this one is from 1.31 to 3. The one that didn't do anything from 1.31 to 3.14. And the actual effect actually takes place after in like 2 years later. It shot up way higher, the average citation at the end of the day. So that is basically the whole outreaching process. But of course, you could see the whole ecosystem today is changing for the whole research workflow itself. That is basically how open science trend came out, and what are the things that you could do, what are the opportunities that we could seize, and you can see the whole entire journey as a researcher today. Every stage, every path that you are moving towards, there are different tools available, different AI comes in. These are even not not the latest updated one, by the way. I mean, there are almost every month now I heard of a new AI tools that came out. So, but what you could see is that the whole flow getting very complex. There are a lot of things that you can do, but mainly your job does not stop at the phase of publication itself. After publication, there are still a lot of things that you could do to ensure that to make the whole journey of your research much more perfect. Okay. So that's basically almost when it comes to my end of my sharing today. I'll leave some of the time for Q&A. But the last slide here basically to showcase is just, yeah, we do run training programs as well, because since that we know that AI, I mean, just to take the opportunity, because since they are out here, AI, big topic, we all knows that. So we actually do run some paid AI workshop as well to bundle together with some of those AI tools that we select and actually wants to run this whole program for you. So why we are running this training is mainly just to because after listening so many things, there could be some customers or some researchers for them, they wish to learn and do it by themselves. So you can see whatever thing that I showcased earlier on the multiple channel is all covers all under this whole 8 modules itself. So you start off by even like doing series 1 is mainly focused on 3 publications. So even like for especially young researcher, how to start running research, how to do it, like what are the tools at every stage we could highlight, like crafting a manuscript, choosing where to publish, open access, non-open access, what kind of tools, how do we determine. We do have a session for that. And after publish, the second module will be on post publication. So how do you amplify research impact during the cluster? That is where we will do hands-on curation with your people, your team, and how to transform those content into like video, for example, how to make video. Just now I highlighted how to make video, so we can actually run that kind of workshop. And last part would be how do we actually promote it various on leveraging on different channels if let's say they wish to learn digital marketing by themselves. And of course, it will not be run everything by me, because we do have different, like I said, the ecosystem is so big. We have different expertise, different background. If you're asking me a question on analysis part, I will actually invite my team, Dr. Han Wen from Taiwan. She will be the one that would run the analytics or bibliometric. Let's say you're asking about certain technology, I will invite my colleague, Iris from Taiwan as well. And Dr. Wong will basically is our founder of this IES research. So depending on which module we are talking about, we will pull in the relevant expert at the end of the day to run the session. So with that, yep, thank you very much. I basically would stop my presentation here and leave around 20 minutes for Q&A. So I think there are some couple of questions at the chat box. Let me just look at it a bit.
All right, thank you, Mr. Casey, for the very interesting and fruitful presentation. So we will now move into the Q&A session.
Okay, I see there's one question just now asked for us. If you use AI, ChatGPT, for instance, to construct sentences, but the ideas and points are our own, still potential for paper retraction? Good question, but definitely this is a very tricky question, and I do not have a direct answer for that. But I can share my point of view for this part itself, because as long as you are using AI, one suggestion to stay safe, because right now this is something that is actually debating across multiple region and university as well. People are, some institutions are actually ban ChatGPT and some are very okay with it. So how do we actually draw a fine line whether or not this one will be retracted, whether or not it's plagiarism, whether or not it's really very a very subjective manner at this stage right now. No one has an accurate, clear policy. So my advice is that whenever we are using AI, do not conceal the role of AI. I mean, you can be very transparent, claiming that, yep, you have this is the entire ideas comes from you, but with the help of ChatGPT, it actually help me to refine the sentences to make it a lot smoother. I mean, you do not need to conceal the role, because personally, I'm also an advocate and I embrace ChatGPT a lot, because I believe I look at the good. It brings a lot of good, especially for people that have great ideas, but they do not have great communication skills, or their English is not good. So I do not hope that, like, oh, just because this guy English is not good, then his idea basically couldn't be articulated. So it's a waste at the end of the day. I mean, I give you another example, directly emails. I do have some colleague in Korea, their English is very bad. Each time I receive email from them, I need to look at it and read for like, I need to look at it like for a couple of minutes only. I need to stun, I need to think, what is this guy trying to say? Because it's just so bad. But once the moment I realized, I understood it, then I thought that, wow, that is a great idea, man. So imagine if with ChatGPT now, he uses ChatGPT to reply email. Wow, like it will make the person that reading much more faster, saves my time, and I get clearer. So I always felt that there's no issues like using AI to help to construct uh sentences, but I think that the catch here is that you never conceal the role, so that it will be safe. You can even sometimes I think you can even put some citation there side, or you can put a disclaimer, using a disclaimer just to cover certain things. That would be on the safe side. Yeah. Let's see if any other question. Okay, meaning to say if our paper already published in journal, we may publish also in magazine, booklet, books, nothing wrong, isn't it? Yes. Basically, your paper published in journal, that is basically one main platform to access your full text, right? So what I meant by earlier on, we publish in magazine, online articles, different types of channel. It's basically creating a teaser or a highlight to your actual research publication. It's like watching a movie today. before you watch a movie, a 2 hour, nowadays movie very long, 2 hours long movie, you need to get attraction. So you need to watch a trailer, a movie, a short teaser or anything, some poster at somewhere to get some attention so that you will watch the movie. So same thing here. You publish a paper at a journal, you need attraction to read that paper, because if you're promoting that paper itself, then people might not get the attention because your paper, the direction scope must probably could be a bit narrow. You want to widen up the scope, you need to have a much more like repurpose the message to claims that your research could be actually collaborated with different discipline and leading to the bigger direction itself. So that's all about like how you repurpose your message so that you can reach out to wider audiences. So let's say if you're publishing in press release, let's say if you realize that your research actually have some contribution in certain bigger aspect, you can see, and you felt that you could turn it into a newsworthy content, you can leverage on that bigger direction and publish a press release to it. That way you could again widen up your whole audience to journalists, media as well. Okay, next question.
Hey, Mr.
Yeah.
Casey. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. I have some comments here to make.
Sure.
Yes. While you were talking about video making, about maybe clusters of research or particular researches, I became curious as to the fact that can those videos be created for a particular research or it has to be in a cluster. And again, supposing I am contracting you to make me a video about a particular research or maybe a cluster of research that we have actually, excuse me, we have actually done as a group. And maybe we happen to come from, like me, particularly, I'm from Nigeria, and right now maybe I'm in Malaysia, and I'm contracting you to do a particular research that was actually done, case study Nigeria, for example, and trying to shy away from having generic videos. I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to say.
Sorry, okay, a few parts here. Let me answer. I think the first question is to answer is that yes, we can actually do both. Either from individual article or video for individual article. That one will be much more straightforward. It will just be like a snapshot of the individual article. That one we usually call video abstract. Okay, so that one is around 1 to 2 minute kind of video. Then the second part of the video is called cluster multidisciplinary video. Usually we also commonly known as video documentary. So it has actually document a series of papers to form an impact story. So that video will be much more slightly longer, usually 3 to 5 minutes. So yes, the first question we can do both depending on the objective. Then yeah, your last part is I don't really get was that.
Okay, let me say it again. Yes, talking about I think you've answered one of the things I was supposed to actually say about copyright generally. Then for us to have, let's say, a particular kind of video for maybe a cluster or an individual research, and I am not actually in that country. Supposing, because you were talking about having originality of videos, so how can you actually do those things if I'm contracting you right now and I'm not in my country to get you maybe footages from my original footages from my country?
Right. There are multiple ways we could do. One is that ideally, I mean, we'll still get some stock paid repository to get any footages in Nigeria as close as possible. That is one thing. The second is that we will see what are the options that we have. Maybe you can get some of your colleagues or engage with any anyone within Nigeria to help you do some filming? Because usually we have to minimize the cost of production today
Mhm,
in
mhm.
this environment, because we know that research environment definitely you can't afford to pay those videographer outside, like to bring the entire crew, set up their own DSLR camera. Usually we all just shoot with your own iPhone or any camera today. As long as the quality is 1080p resolution, any phone can do the shooting itself. And usually we will provide the guidance, what to shoot, how to shoot. So even you are the researcher, even you are based in Malaysia, some of the footage, if we cannot get the actual lab in Nigeria, all we need is to film you at your office, maybe at any lab, because I think hypothetically every lab looks quite similar. So as long as the author, the real author in the lab, even you are in Malaysia in UPM, you are actually working in the lab, we'll just shoot some of the back scene of you, maybe just doing some experiment, or even like as simple as using your laptop, typing some words, writing some articles. All these are footages that improve the authenticity of this whole video. As long as people wants to see the real author, the real team behind, then that is one thing. The second one is some of our interviews can actually, if we can guide the author to do the record themselves, self-record themselves to do the interview. But I do have one customer which is quite a senior guy, I think about 60 years old, which is completely not tech savvy. So that is a problem that he don't even like uses a very high-end smartphone. So it's okay. That case, I usually guide him through a Zoom meeting. So I actually recorded the whole session through Zoom. I mean, we open up Zoom using Zoom itself to record the script. I mean, we wrote a script for him. He just need to read out the script. We can see his face, and I can edit the whole footage, include it into the video. So there are a few options that we could, we could talk about that. If, but if let's say they're keen, we can definitely work out different solutions for it.
And finally, please,
Yeah.
talking about training, you didn't actually share us how much it will cost for someone to run a program with you. I think we would like to know that, and the link to get to you in case one finds it interesting.
Yep, I think the cost part, I can, because our cost is pretty much very customizable. I mean, it's like renovation. Renovation costs, if you want to renovate a house, you can go anywhere from 10,000 all the way to $1 million, depending on what kind of material, what kind of supplier. So same goes to us. We all depending on which platform you wish to use, what kind of your budget. So the best way, let's say you have this kind of budget allocated, then we can help you source out, okay, we can recommend you with this budget. Let's say you only have 20,000 ringgit, 10,000 ringgit. What are the things that can be done from this range? We will help you to source out the relevant. I mean, maybe you can just use some free tools and you can just run some training. Let's say the budget, but we can our pricing model definitely is already, I can tell you, one of our biggest deal we closed also was 150,000 US dollar for 3 years kind of program. So they are really quite depends on what the thing that we are looking for. But for pricing wise, I think you can send me, my email is here. You can share anything that you are requesting. As I say, you just want to with a video, you can just showcase how many clusters that you are looking at, papers. I can send you out the proposal separately, and we can discuss, or we can have a separate discussion to see how we want to amend things that, I mean, according to blend in. I can give you a conceptual proposal after looking at things. But generally, usually outreaching, we charge by number of publications, and we have a number of clusters. So usually we have a base like 50 papers, 100 papers, 150 papers. Then we can, because we need to have a minimum number of papers to form the cluster. So I said 50 papers, we at least can form like 10 clusters. Because 5 papers, 1 clusters as a minimum number. So yeah, usually that is the kind of model we're looking at.
Thank you so much.
Sure. I think there's another Chan Wei Hao. Yep.
Okay, hi, Mr. Casey. I have
Hi.
a question. Thanks for the talk. And then my question is about the outreaching platform, right? So you because I think I'm kind of a traditional kind of
Yeah.
person. The way I search means reaching the research materials is like through those typical scientific databases. Also, I usually don't want jump to like those kudos, those like social medias for looking for articles. So, but I have just asking an idea is about how about helping the authors to outreach to newsletter service, because this is like Medium, like they have the kind of when we subscribe to their account, then we will get the newsletter, and then the newsletter will generate a list of like recommended articles that can actually like target at our preference. So do you this kind of research consultant provide this kind of service like newsletter emailing?
Yep. Newsletter emailing, actually, that one of the, I mean, the premium one we got is ResearchGate. Okay. ResearchGate, because they are one of the largest, like I said, they have every researcher information and their list, any emails. So they do offers. I mean, we actually tie up with them as a partner that, yeah, you can actually sign out like, let's say 10,000 emails for specific community, because they have all the emails accounts. So let's say if you are under this particular subject area like blockchain, so who you want to target, which they can even go very specifically like, oh, I want to target universities in UK, or which particular university name. You can just send them the list, and they can actually do the whole send us the list. They can actually run the whole email campaign to the whole 10,000 emails will be actually received that part. So we actually work with them on this area for email marketing. Whereas to answer your first question, social media, yep, that one actually very much depends on different audience. I mean, there are always different preferences, because research field it's quite pretty diverse as well. But social media, what I could say is that as long as people are on social media, the chances of getting the because that is how it goes back to how you want to craft the message to get people's attention. Let's say if you are working on cancer research, so when you're if as long as you do spend time on social media like per day, let's say at least 30 minutes or 1 hour, then you will actually have the tendency to come into those kind of advertisements that I'm talking about, because those content will shoot to you as you scroll. So let's say, for example, this is one ad, like on a flower. Let's say I'm just scrolling through my friends from, wait, suddenly who this is not my friend, but it's a company that sells flowers. Maybe because like, oh, I look into flowers in the past few days, so flower ad just pop into me. So same thing on research. If I'm researching on cancer, so definitely, or cancer content suddenly pops up, oh, a very cool image or a very cool video captures my attention. I click on it, then it will links me, even in a way, trying to even capture me during my free time on social media, trying to bring me back to work time at the end of the day. So yeah, so that's a bit how it works.
Clear. Thank you so much for the comments.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yusuf and Ms. Chan for the question. So any question? Any more question for Mr. Casey? Okay, if no question, maybe we can proceed to our, we can ask everyone to turn on your camera if possible and give us your best smile, okay?
I need to turn off my screen, right?
Okay. Okay, we will take a few moments to ensure everyone is ready. Okay, everyone is ready. Okay, let's give a countdown. 3, 2, 1, cheese. Once again, 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, thank you for taking a moment to complete it. Okay. Okay. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. I hope you found the discussion as interesting as I did. A big thank you to our speaker, Mr. Casey, for sharing his expertise and insight. Your knowledge has truly enhanced our understanding of open science trend and how they influence the impact of your journal. Okay, we also appreciate the engagement for our participants. Don't forget to fill up the attendance because we will share the slide through your registered email. And then once again, thank you for your time and participate. Wish you success as you put the new insight in action. Stay safe and thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum. Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you
a nice
so
day.
much.
Goodbye.